happy Tuesday, February 7th, 2023. 50 years ago on this day, I came onto the planet. 50 today. Big day, everybody tells me. That's a big birthday. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like, I don't feel like I'm 50. When I go back in time, I think of people who were 50 years old. I think of my grandfather. He would have been 50 when I was born, and so I remember him being in his late 50s, you know, into 60s, that kind of thing. But, I mean, not too far away. I'm not too far away from that. And at the time, I'm like, he's old. You know, you have that perception of, wow, he's old. And I'm 50, not far away. It's just kind of the perspective that you have when you're in high school. You know, you see teachers, they're like, I remember a teacher who was just almost turned 40. He's like 39, and he and his wife had their first child, and I was like, man, that's so old. You're going to be 60, and that kid's going to be like 20. I mean, you'll be going to graduation when you're in your late 50s. I mean, what are you thinking having a kid that old? And of course, that's what I did. So I'll be like 59 when my youngest daughter graduates. My oldest daughter graduates this year. We're going to figure out where to send her to college. What's a good college? You know, what, you know, and then it's like, how much does it cost? You know, that's the other thing. Just go work, go get and do something you love, and don't pay all this money to, anyway. But, you know, everybody has their own path. I mean, I went to college. I got out in 3.5 years, went 2 years to a community college, and then 1.5 years to my 4-year school and got my degree. So I didn't mess around and didn't live on campus, so it was cheaper. I was fortunate enough that my parents and my grandparents paid for it as I went. So I was very fortunate to get out without any student debt. But I didn't ask for anything extra. I didn't do anything extra, you know, no room and board. There's just things you can cut out. I had to live at home. You know, so it is what it is. But yeah, a lot of things to reflect on in these 50 years and the next 50 to come. Yeah, I don't feel 50. No, I really don't. So that younger perception of what it's like when you're 50 and you're old, I don't feel that way now. Perception's a unique thing. When you start thinking about it, your perception of life, of everything that happens, like time, for instance, you perceive that time is moving quicker as you get older. I think everybody says that. Man, time speeds up as you get older. Wow. Well, it makes sense. Because if you're 10 years old, 5 years is half your life. That seems like a long time when you're 10. 5 years. Wow. 5 years? And now, when you're 50, 5 years is only 10% of your life. So, compared to the other moments that are lived, it's a smaller fraction of that time. It's proportionally. And so, yeah, as we get older, it seems like things speed up. Because that 1 year out, and when you're 80 is 1/80th of your life. That 1 year when you're 10 is 1/10 of your life. So it's, you know, it's all about, you know, how we go through life and the time spent and comparing it to how much time we've been here. Anyway, hopefully that makes sense. But, you know, when you think time speeding up, it kind of is. It's your perception of time. You know, 1 year goes a lot quicker because you're comparing it to all the other years. It's just a fraction of your life. Small fraction as opposed to a big fraction. So anyway, take these glasses off. I do that. Let me make sure nobody's coming. Take these off and I'm like, okay, I have a different view of the world now. Different perception. I don't see things as sharply. I can't read the signs as well. No, is that what's that sign? Oh, it's a no passing sign. Okay. Talk about the shapes. That's why they do them in the shapes, so you can see the shape and be like, okay, that's a stop sign. That's a railroad. So it's really through the lens and how you see things, you know, how you perceive the world. And so if that's the case, I can put a pair of glasses on and see the world differently, or take the glasses off and see the world differently. Why can't I change my perspective on anything in the world? Why would I, for instance, what is that? I saw something weird in the sky on Sunday. I'll have to talk about it. Okay, that's a flock of seagulls. No, it's not. I'm talking about the 80s. We're going in the hot tub time machine now. Digibug time machine. No. All right, rambling. I won't talk about the Sunday thing. There's weird stuff flying in the sky. I saw it clearly. I don't know what it was. Anyway, perception. What did I perceive it to be? What did someone else perceive it to be? So you can change your perspective, really. You can choose to live in fear. You can choose to believe everything that you see on the television set and live your life accordingly. That's your perception. You can perceive that the world is falling apart. We're destroying our planet. We have to give all our energy away to, fight climate change. We have to live in fear. We have to get in line and be afraid of the next pandemic, the next little microbe that's going to kill us. We can have that perspective. Walk around in masks. Be very fearful, afraid of your fellow human beings, because if they breathe on you, they might be killing you. They might be deadly. You can have that perspective. Or you can have a perspective that says, you know what? I really don't care. When it's my time, it's my time. I'm not going to worry about it. It's not a big deal. I'm going to live today as happily as I can. I'm not going to let those things worry me, because what happens when you do that? You stress out, your blood pressure's up, your heart, you panic, and your whole body reacts based on your perception, your mind, what your mind perceives is happening. Now you can, let's say during the last 3 years you lived, in some remote mountain village or some village in the Amazon jungle. You didn't know anything that was going on. You had no idea. I just saw a picture the other day of a drone flying over this, Brazilian village in the Amazon. Never, been contacted by human beings in the outside world before, supposedly. And they live their lives like they've done for centuries, probably, even thousands of years. Who knows? The traditions that they've passed down. So that's their reality. That's their perception of the world. The allegory of the cave is by Plato, I think. To where, I should know this stuff, but again, I've forgotten more than I've ever learned. And so you've got people inside the cave and they see these shadows walking along on the wall. They're casting a shadow. Well, it turns out, and so they think those are real people or figures, but it turns out they're shadows. And the real people are outside the cave, but they don't know. They've lived in the cave and they haven't seen outside the cave. Their reality is the shadow that's being cast. That's all they know. It's like my mother told me, she said, yesterday, she says, I remember you that day very clearly when you were born. And she's telling me a little bit of the story. She said, I think it was 1:21 p.m., 50 years ago. I don't know that. I wasn't, conscious there. I can't remember those things. And so she's telling me those things. So my perception of the day I was born is based on, what she's told me. Do I know that's true? I trust my mother that, she knows, but do I know that's true? Do I even know she's my mother? Do I know that my father's my father? I'm taking their word for it. But when you start thinking about it, it's like so many things that we're told, do we really know? Inside, and that's why I say trust yourself. It's obvious, pretty obvious. So, but you don't know if you're not there. So what happens is, in a sound money situation, people who lived through the Great Depression, that's why you have those stories of people putting money under their mattress. They don't trust banks. I don't trust banks. I'm not putting my money in the bank. The thing is, all those people who lived during that time and didn't trust the banks and held cash in their possession because they'd had it all taken away in the Great Depression, those people are gone. They're not able to tell the story anymore. And so that knowledge that was passed to their children and then their children, and then possibly the children, now living of those people, that it's all second, third-hand information. They don't have that direct experience of living in a household with a parent who went through that and drilling it into your head that the bank stole our money. They took everything away. There were bank runs and all the money that was in there was lost. That's why I don't trust a bank. I'm not putting money in a bank. And so you get, okay, I get it, Dad. All right. So you get that firsthand. So you've got that perception of reality kind of in your head that, this isn't a good thing. But after a few generations go by, we're like, yeah, but in the bank, it's safe, FDIC insured, no worries, until there is a worry. If you don't have it, you don't have it. You need it in your hand. You need to have possession of it. You know, this is where I go into Litecoin and silver, right? Not yet. But perception definitely is reality. You create your reality through your perception. Like I said, right now I take my glasses off. I have a different perspective. You know, I may not see that Sasquatch standing over there because, you know, it's not sharp detail and there's some trees. But he's still standing there. He's looking at me. Did I see a Sasquatch? Did I see a UFO on Sunday? What was that? I don't know. And so my worldview is built on these things. And it might not have been either. But if you think you saw it, then you think, well, I saw that. So I'm going to change my perspective on the world because, wow, that was altering. So just like tonight, you're going to have a State of the Union address. Unfortunately, on my birthday. I always thought it was in January. Why is it in February? Maybe they've changed it. Again, I perceived the Mandela effect that it was always in January. Apparently it isn't. So tonight you're going to have the State of the Union, and you're going to have somebody telling you how to think. You're going to have someone telling you their perspective. This is how things are. The economy's great. Jobs are coming back. You know, wages are going up. Prices of fuel going down. Everything is wonderful. You know, the economy is being built from the ground up, middle out, whatever the press secretary says, middle out, ground up. I don't know, inside out, ground up. And it ground up all right. It's been ground up. So you've got that perspective, and then you'll have the alternative perspective afterwards, where you're going to have Sarah Huckabee, the governor of Arkansas, former press secretary, talking about, you know, how things aren't that good, how things have gone into the toilet, you know, since Trump left. And so you're going to have these different perspectives, and then you form a reality based upon it. And so ultimately it comes down to you of, are you going to participate in that narrative? Are you going to give energy to a particular perspective? Or are you going to trust yourself and say, you know what? I mean, they all have agendas, and they want to try and push us and steer us in one direction or the other, and you herd the sheep in a certain direction. I know what I see on a daily basis. I know the people I interact with. I know what my reality is. And so don't let it be skewed by what's being told to you on these propaganda machines, these televisions, social media now. Don't allow that stuff to alter your reality when you know what your reality is. What is their motivation? What is their agenda? You know what you see. You know what's in front of you. You know what you experience on a daily basis. And then you say, wow, it must be really bad. And then you think, well, it's not that bad here. But they're saying, you know, it's really bad. You know, everything's falling apart. I really don't feel that in my own reality. But I guess it is, so I need to panic. Where's my mask? Where do I get in line? Drive through. And then it starts to come out that maybe some of that was false reality. So I knew it. I knew I should have went with my gut. I knew at the time I should have done this, should have done that. You should have. You should trust yourself. Reality is really what you make it. I mean, yeah, there are real things. Hey, I just got cut and I'm bleeding. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm not bleeding. No, really, it's just a flesh wound. So there are those things. But what you're dealing with now is an information war. And Alex Jones coined that, you know, decades ago, 20, 30 years ago. It is 20 years ago, 25 years, I don't know. It is an information war. And it is a war for your mind. He says it correctly, and he said that for a long time. And at first, I'm like, yeah, okay. Now more so than ever, we are in an information war. We are in a war of perception and choosing what the real perception of reality is and whose perception narrative is going to win. It's really what it is. And you think about it. Everything that's happening, it's like, is it happening? Is this reality? Or is it not reality? And it's just a control for your mind. What happened, you know, in the last few years has been really an experiment in determining whether or not you're going to go along whether or not you're going to follow orders or be feared into doing something you don't want to do. And a lot of people were. But now it's coming out that maybe we shouldn't have been. Maybe they didn't tell us the truth. And now the damage is done. Not real happy about this. So perception is everything. It's how you look at life. It's how you feel about it through your own eyes, through your own discernment. That's why I say trust yourself. You got to trust yourself. There's so much just noise out there. So much, not necessarily information, but it's not informative. It's just a bunch of chatter. It's a bunch of squawking. It's just like walking into a jungle that just, and it's just, okay, what do I focus on here? What am I looking at? I have no idea. This is crazy. This is crazy. So, I don't know. As you go through the day, just reflecting a little bit on 50 years of life here in this body, this avatar. We find our spirits locked in, our souls locked in. Don't let somebody unlock it and take your soul away. Don't allow yourself to be part of a narrative or a reality that's not really your reality. It can become your reality. You can live in the metaverse. You can live in this digital world. You can allow yourself to be sucked into it and become a part of it, where you can lose your soul. I think so. It's a dangerous world that can happen. We got to make sure that we understand what makes us human, what makes us who we are individually. The individual is important. So many times right now, it's for the greater good. It's for the good of society. You need to make sure that you're being a good little society member. You know what? If we have a bunch of individuals who think for themselves, they'll be fine. It's just like now. We expect the government to do everything and fix all the problems. Who fixed the problems when government didn't have all this money that they could create prior to 1913? Who fixed problems? There were individuals who fixed problems. They would start foundations. They would start charities. They would start organizations. Those people who became wealthy, they wanted to give back. Not everybody's bad. Not all rich people are bad people. They might have done some bad things to get there, but a lot of times they give back. They try to help, maybe to atone for some sins. I don't know. But a lot of foundations and a lot of charities were formed by private individuals. People have a way of taking care of people if they're not deceived in not doing it. And I think that's a lot of what happens now. We depend on government. Hey, pick up the trash out of that ditch. I'm not doing it. I'm paying taxes. Hey, you take care of those poor people on the street. It's not my problem. I'm paying taxes. I'm getting bled out every month. I'm poor because of you. You need to fix it. Then they don't fix it. And then our fellow human beings just get thrown to the wayside and brushed away. People will fix problems. And we need to do that. We need to perceive a better world, manifest a better world, see the world as you want to see it. Think of those They Live glasses. Watch that movie, They Live, former wrestling superstar Roddy Piper in there. And, he puts the glasses on. It's like, oh my gosh, I see reality now. I see that, you got these creatures, these aliens that are like behind everything. And all this propaganda, the subliminal messages. Takes the glasses off. It's like, okay, everything looks fine. Puts them on. Holy cow! Look at everything. He's seeing through that layer. He's seeing a different frequency. He's tuned into it. It's just like an AM radio or an FM radio, whatever. You turn the dial, you hit another frequency. Yeah, they're all there. We're just not tuned into them. All the frequencies are there. The universe is constantly communicating with us. It's just you're not listening. You're not listening on the right frequency. And so how do you fix that? Well, there's ways to do that, all kinds of different ways. Meditating, eating right, getting all these things, getting in harmony with different frequencies. But they're all there. We're just not tuned into it. Some people are, some people aren't. That's why they probably have a different perception of reality. So we have to believe in ourselves. We have to trust ourselves. We have to do everything we can to make the world a better place. Through information, through action. So there's my little, I don't know, quasi-philosophical rant on a, half-century mark of my life. But it is a wonderful world. There's so many beautiful things, so many beautiful people, so many people who want to do well and feel like they're kind of trapped and unable to help and unable to do anything, and kind of hand off that duty to other people. Do something nice for somebody today. Hold the door open for somebody. Maybe buy somebody lunch. If you're going getting a coffee or getting something in the drive-thru, or breakfast, buy somebody behind you, pay their bill. That's an amazing thing. That will put somebody in a really good mood. And that it's just like that match in the darkness. I mean, it diffuses out and destroys so much of the darkness and enlightens so much of the darkness. One single little action, one little match. It just fills so much of the darkness. That one action can have an impact that ripples out. It's like the stone in the water, the ripple effect. It's not just where the stone goes in the water where the water's affected. No, it ripples out and it touches so much of the water so far away. That's the same thing. You do a good action, that person's in an amazing mood. You buy somebody's lunch like that. Buy somebody's breakfast. And I'm like, holy cow, you know what happened to me today, honey? You wouldn't believe it. And they're just kind of high on life. You've changed the perception. Hey, human beings are good. People are good. It changes you. And it's just not a hard thing to do. It's very easy to do. So quit falling into the darkness. Be that match. Light it up. Vampires can't live in the light, so expose them. Expose the darkness. Be that light of truth. Be that light of hope for humanity. We can all do it. I want to see matches everywhere, so there's no more darkness. Expose this vampire system, these corrupt people, because that's all they are. They want to change your perception to make you think that everything is dying and everything is doom and gloom, because that's their world. Death. That's why the vampire is such a good analogy, I think, for all these people. It's a death cult. It's all they are. They want to destroy and decay things and corrupt things. Darkness. Very unhappy people, if they are even people. Just very dark people. Be that light. Expose them. Don't let them over the threshold into your life. Don't make that part of your reality. It's like a jet. Just went by. But it was a car. It sounded like a jet, though. All right. I love you all. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. And have a happy Tuesday. And I guess we'll talk again tomorrow. But trust yourself in all this. You got to do that. Always trust yourself. All right. Thanks for watching.